Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about today with massive class changes over on the beta, brand new updates to PvP, seasonal rewards, crafting, Mythic Plus additions, and so much more. My name's Sky from the Comeback Kids. We got your World of Warcraft news today. Grab a cup of coffee, sit down, got a lot to discuss. Okay, now over the last few days, the War Within beta has been seeing constant updates to classes, and some of the biggest ones include to Shaman, Rogue, Death Knight, Balanced Druid, and Mage. Now, when it comes to Rogue, all three of their specs were actually buffed quite significantly by around 15 to 20% flat damage, which is quite big, while also the hero talents like the Trickster talent tree getting buffed with increased Unseen Blade damage, as well as Nimble Fury, as well as Flawless Form adjustments to make it overall feel a lot better. Their Deathstalker talent tree also got some significant additions as well, where now when you damage an enemy while they're above 20% of their total maximum HP, there's a chance you stack a new talent called Fatal Intent that when you finally break that 20% threshold, they take a bunch of extra damage, kind of like really honing in on that assassination executioner, dagger in the dark playstyle, which is really nice. Not only that, the damage of the Deathstalker's Mark talent tree got buffed significantly as well. And then finally, when it comes to their hero talent trees, the Fate-bound talent tree saw some significant buffs and changes also. If you don't know, the Fate-bound spec for Rogue is all about flipping a coin that would land on a specific face, and if you can keep repeating that same face, like heads, over and over again, you would deal a bunch of damage or it would buff you significantly, making you stronger. But as it stands, it just wasn't worth it at all to pray to the RNG gods to get a very minor damage increase and to really deal almost like no damage, even if you got super lucky. So hopefully some of these changes make this a lot better, like for example, increasing the base damage of one of the procs by 72%, as well as when you flip the same coin 7 times in a row now, you get 7% agility rather than 1% to all your secondary stats. Everyone's raving about how poorly Rogue has been doing, so hopefully these changes help that. Moving on now to Elemental Shamans, they did just simply get a flat 30% damage increase. That's it. Nothing else so far. Now, remember, this doesn't include the giant rework that Shamans are going to be getting coming this Tuesday, so they simply just wanted to give them some updates, I guess, before bringing the new changes, so we still have that to look forward to. Moving on to Frost Death Knight, they saw some significant buffs as well to most of their abilities, which is quite surprising, because a lot of people consider them one of the stronger DPS melee classes in the game, so seeing all these changes should now solidify that, and they should be a very solid class to play and test out. Then, of course, you have the Balanced Druid, which, once again, a lot of damage increases across the board for them, so hopefully they feel better moving forward. I know there were a lot of complaints about them on the PTR forums and Reddit, so hopefully things get better. And then lastly, for the large updates, it looks like, once again, Mage has seen a ton of additions, specifically, though, to Arcane, where many talents in their talent tree were moved across the board, and a bunch of new talents were then just implemented that honestly look really fun. So if you're a Mage player out there, definitely check out these new talents because they are very, very interesting. I was just testing them out last night. Very, very awesome. Definitely go try it out. To no one's surprise, though, Fire Mage did see some nerfs recently because it was just dominating Mythic Plus over on the beta, just dealing top damage consistently just about every single pack if you know what you're doing. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much of these nerfs affect the class overall. But this is something that we all kind of expected based on how strong Mage has been over the last month or so. Moving on now, it is official that NetEase has announced that the War Within will begin in China again on August 1st. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, World of Warcraft is officially back up and running in China starting next month, where they are going to be re-releasing Wrath of the Lich King Classic and zooming through the entire expansion where they'll just have everything in Old War be released in just a matter of weeks, and they're going to be re-releasing the Plunderstorm event, as well as them re-releasing World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Think of it almost as like a super speed way to experience an expansion, which then will advance into the future in a matter of weeks when it begins over there. Something else that's even crazier is that NetEase just announced that a special reward to any Chinese group will be won in the upcoming Race to World First in the War Within raiding event. It stated that the prize pool is only available to Chinese groups, which makes sense, and if no Chinese team wins a first place prize, the prize pool will continuously increase each tier rolling into the next race to world first until it's finally claimed. It's actually said that the prize pool is about 1 million yen, which is about $137,000, where every tier they don't win, it'll increase by 27,000 moving forward. Overall, this is great news, as this will most likely bring probably millions of subscribers back to the World of Warcraft in general, whether it be Classic, Plunderstorm, Retail, whatever may have it. So a very, very big win overall. Moving on to some juicy rewards. It looks like the seasonal rewards from the delves in the War Within Season 1 have been data mined. And some of them include a Void airship, as well as a brand new Cloak transmog. Now, I would say that the airship is probably the big winner here. I think the color palette and the animations look really, really great, but the Cloak back piece can look cool if you're like a rogue or something in stealth. Either way, the recent War Within beta build, they did address that these rewards to the Season 1 delve achievements list. And currently, there are only 3 seasonal achievements associated with delves for the very first season, which, of course, we know follow a chain of difficulty attached to them. And the more difficult challenge you complete, the more rewarding the cosmetic, so on and so forth. I really hope they continue to add some rewards to this, like they did with the Mage Tower, because I think everybody really likes that sort of, you know, class and skill exclusivity sort of cosmetic system. Moving on now to another great gameplay feature, we have updates on Mythic Plus. Now, we all know that Sanguine, Bolstering, Raging, and Bursting have officially been removed entirely from the War Within, which is great, but it was additionally just confirmed that any keys above a +10 will have Tyrannical and Fortified active at the same time, which should make that Mythic Plus tier significantly more difficult than the rest. Additionally, when it comes to the new Mythic Plus affixes, we finally got a first look at Xal'atath's Bargain, which is a new Mythic affix in a Mythic Plus environment. Now, it will be active about every minute or so. Xal'atath will show up in your Mythic Plus key and summon waves of orbs which can cast abilities called the Cosmic Ascension. Now, if these orbs are successful, they will buff other enemy mobs by giving them more movement speed, as well as haste per success on their cast. So the only way to actually get rid of these orbs is to stop their spell cast by interrupting, displacing, crowd controlling, or even purging them. Something really cool is that if you successfully stop them, you'll be granted with a minor buff of 1% haste and movement speed per stack. So I guess it'll kind of benefit you, taking your time out of DPSing to follow the mechanic and make sure your team is okay. At first, when I saw these orbs all going off at once, I kind of freaked out, I'm not going to lie, and I thought it'd be really hard to disrupt all of them, but in actuality, it isn't as hard as I thought, so that's a big win there. It is something that could be a little bit punishing, though, if you don't pay attention to it, but not punishing enough to where it will just one-shot your group and it's just completely going to wipe you all. Overall, though, I think it looks very cool. I love the visuals. I think it's a great idea to keep adding Xal'atath into our gameplay features and to keep her almost like a center focus to lead into the expansion. Now moving on to the opposite side of the realm, we have player versus player updates. And yes, there are quite a few big ones here when it comes to PvP honor and crafted gear. When it comes to the War Within, Blizzard is actually making a very, very big change, allowing honor now to be traded within your characters in the warband system, and they're now introducing new crafted PvP gear that will now require honor and conquest purchase reagents instead of weekly crafting sparks, with their whole goal to just make it more effort gated rather than being time gated, which is a major W, as this was a big pain in the ass in Dragonflight, sitting around waiting for sparks all the time. As you can see on the screen, you can see that honor can now be traded across your warband, which should help you gear up significantly easier. Crafted PvP recipes are now purchasable for honor and can be traded or sold on the auction house for gold, so you can make a quick buck. Your crafted PvP gear will now use reagents that are only purchasable for honor and conquest, which should benefit you the more you play PvP. And now you can socket your PvP gear as well by getting the Vicious Jeweler settings, which are once again purchasable for honor or obtained from certain war mode PvP activities and stuff. It is such a good idea, in my opinion, for them to give you, more rewards for PvP by actually participating in PvP, whether it be Battlegrounds, solo queue, open world engagement. Very, very big W from the developers here. A lot of these systems were a big pain in the ass in Dragonflight, so them cleaning it up here and making it more streamlined and basing it around actual PvP content is nothing but a very big win. Now, moving on to more visual side of today's news video, we have the July trading post. This month's set of trading post items resemble a lot of like a, oceanic type theme with diver suits as well as tridents and like octopus tentacle staffs, while, you know, having mounts that look like fish as well as battle pets that looks like fish. So overall, it's kind of like an oceanic themed trading post with a couple really awesome rewards when it comes to weapons, including the Riptide Gut Puncher, which is a fist weapon that looks amazing, and in my opinion would look great on an enhancement shaman, as well as the Titan Thunder Bow, which is a bow version of Thunder Fury, which looks absolutely insane if you play Hunter. So yes, there is a couple rewards here that look great, so if you have any tenders saved up, it might be some time to, you know, get some cool looking cosmetics. But heads up, I did see a couple leaks for the August traders post. It looks a lot better than this month's in my opinion, so I'm going to save my money and just wait for August. Additionally, on the PTR, we officially finally got map updates for the War Within. As you can see here, we have the entire map of Kaz Algar showing Hollowfall, Aj-Kahet, the Ringing Deeps, the Isle of Dorn. I was really hoping they were going to update the map for Aj-Kahet because it was very, very dark the last time I saw a map update, and it was really hard to read. And it looks like they actually did that. They gave it a nice little visual update that makes everything look a lot smoother and visually appealing. There were a couple people on Twitter saying that the overall map size this expansion looks like very small compared to the other expansions. So I don't know. What are you guys thinking in the comment section below? Do you think this looks a lot smaller than some of the other continents we've explored, such as, you know, Mist of Pandaria, or, you know, Warlords of Draenor, or even, you know, Battle for Azeroth? I'd love to hear your opinions on that. And in my opinion, it does look a little bit smaller, but we'll have to see in game. Something else I'd love to hear your opinions on is the brand new War Within leaked login screen. Now, this isn't 100% official because it isn't on the beta just yet, but we did get the visual leaked, and I'm not going to lie, it looks a little boring, in my opinion, compared to some of the other great login screens we've seen in the past. All jokes aside, though, I'd love to hear you guys' initial thoughts on seeing this for the first time, because right away, when I saw this on Twitter, I was not really happy. I didn't really like how simple and plain it looked. I like when I look at a login screen, I'm about to enter a ginormous world and discover something fantastic. Like, I really love the Mist of Pandaria one, the Wrath of the Lich King, you know, Burning Crusade. Just seeing those and hearing the login music to me was just so epic back in the day, and it really gave me goosebumps. So I'd love to hear what your guys' opinions on this one when it comes to the War Within. And finally, for the news updates, it looks like the Pathfinder requirements were recently added to the War Within beta on how you can obtain steady flying in Kaz Algar. And yes, you did hear that correctly. Currently in Kaz Algar, you will not be able to have your regular flying, and you will only be able to dragon ride unless you complete the following achievements. It's not really too complicated though, as the only thing you will have to do is complete the main leveling storylines for every single zone in the War Within, and then discover every single region in the continent, which most likely a lot of people are going to do anyways, just leveling up. Now moving on to the community section, where we take your top comments from the previous video and shout them out. So be sure to leave your opinion down in the comment section below so we can get your opinions involved in the next video. First up, we have Paul saying that I see myself playing the War Within pre-patch instead of Season of Discovery, not playing both as Season of Discovery won't release until around the pre-patch time, and I haven't enjoyed Season of Discovery since Phase 2. And yeah, I'm going to be honest here, man. I think they kind of dropped the ball on the release dates when it comes to Season of Discovery as well as the War Within pre-patch. It's going to mess up with the timing. I was really hoping this week would be the week they released the entirety of Phase 4, but once again, it looks like it's going to be another 2-ish weeks, but of course, I'm going to be playing Season of Discovery for a little while when Phase 4 comes out. But as of right now, my main priority is going to be on the War Within and retail World of Warcraft content with a little sprinkle of SOD here or there. Next up, we have Nebula saying that I'm going to be maining my Death Knight, the Rider of the Apocalypse and Sand Lane hero talent trees will be so much fun after what I just saw. Keep those retail videos coming. And yeah, I got to agree with you there. I think Death Knight might have the coolest hero talent trees in the entire game. Just a class fantasy perspective of all three of them being very different but very unique is amazing in my opinion. I would love to try out Death Knight for the first time ever just to try to get some of those talent trees in game and try them out. Very, very well done by the developers on that one. And lastly, we have Tigerfish saying, I wish mages had other specs too, like Storm, Shadow, Blood, and Water for healing. That sounds a lot like Guild Wars 2 in my opinion, but coming from Season of Discovery, where mages have some healing capabilities, I'm going to be upfront with you. I love the idea that mages can at least toss out some heals. I was super on the fence about it at first when I heard about it, and I didn't like the idea, but I think it really makes sense that a mage can control time as one of his, talent specs. And I would really love to see if they would ever test around to do some shit like that for, a chronostatic time wizard as a 4th mage spec, because I think that would be really, really cool. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap up today's video. Don't forget to let us know about your opinions in the comment section below. so we can shout you out. If you like the video, you can maybe like and subscribe and get flooded with some War Within content. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It's always an absolute pleasure to make content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.